Lucas, what happens in Vegas?
Well, a lot of graduates in Vegas. The CCSD year just ended, and I'm a senior who just graduated. So that's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. It's a big deal.
It is, and it's like one I've been looking forward to for like ever. I think since freshman year. Um, but yeah, no, it's like it happened a lot faster than I thought, and thank God.
Hmm.
And now I'm gonna like fully realize my potential as an adult, and that's really great. And I'm gonna be like my own person. I'm gonna be like independent, and a lot of me and my friends gonna do the same thing.
That's great. Just so everybody knows, you were born here in Las Vegas.
I was actually born in Tucson,
In Tucson.
but I moved down to Vegas like 10 years ago. So I've been here since 2011. So that's 13 years?
13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, your entire childhood.
Yeah. Which is crazy because I was born in 2006. So yeah, more than half for sure.
That's great. Okay, so, and how do you like living here?
As like a resident, it's pretty cool. Just, I guess it being a 24-hour town. Everything's available here. There's nothing closes at like a time, really. I mean, maybe like they could do better, maybe providing more for like the families now, because I remember back then it was a bit more family oriented, so that was cool. But they've become a lot less family oriented, and there's not a lot going into education. So I'd probably just say like, if you're going to school here, living here is kind of challenging. But if you're here to like, I don't know, make money, then yeah, it's the place for you. Especially with all the new stuff that's moving down here.
That's great. So, how would you describe Las Vegas to someone that has never been here?
It's not just casinos, for sure. It's a lot of different people who like want to make it big. It's not necessarily like the city of dreams, like LA or like New York, but it's certainly a city uh, where I don't know, a lot of people come together. It's very diverse. It's not like a lot of cities, or at least so I found out that it's not like we just have a lot of different people here, and it's definitely like this giant salad. And it's pretty cool. Everyone gets along. Everyone's pretty chill for the most part. Everyone's very open, and I think that's nice.
That's great. What do you think? What do you wish this city had, or perhaps didn't have?
A lot more education funded, for sure. Um, which sucks because a lot of the private schools here, they get a lot of their funding from, I don't know, these upper class parents, like rich parents, like Bishop Gorman up here. That's like thousands in tuition for like one student, which is crazy. And that's not available everywhere. The services that they have, that's not available in like public schools. In fact, the public school I just graduated from is like kind of degrading in quality. And the whole thing with the whole modernizing movement that they're doing, it's not really going to help. All they're doing is just making the school like more, I guess, secure, or just locking it down more. And really, it's just a measure to like protect / keep students in. There's really nothing going to like career programs or technical programs at all. It's all about like sports now. I mean, Bishop Gorman is a big sports school, and that's probably why they get so much in money. But yeah, no, I just wish I had more resources available to like children, or like students, because they don't really get that quality of education that they need, and that sucks.
Are you choosing to continue your education here in Las Vegas?
No, but I'm choosing to continue here in Nevada because I'm going up to Reno for university. I do know that UNLV is actually a pretty good school. It's just I don't want to be in the city when I do university. I want to go out on my own and like actually be independent, live on my own. And that's cool. And it's also cool if you're staying here and doing your education here, because again, UNLV is pretty great as a university. In fact, I think there's a lot. I think they're at capacity this year, so that's pretty cool.
That's, tell me more about that. what are the, what are the deciding factors for you to go out of the city?
Um, just I mean, first and foremost, the way I was raised. My mother grew up to like hate Vegas, and she's hated staying here ever since. Which okay, I understand that. Um, and I know it's not the greatest in education. Um, and she always pushed for me to like go out of state or at least actually no, just go out of state. Period. But even then, I've like noticed myself. It's like I think somebody who's lived here for so long, it kind of gets not boring, but distasteful. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's a lot of people who come here to do like really crazy stuff, and you see that like all the time. And I'm just not here for that. Um,
So, well, what are the? Can you? Do you have any stories, Vegas stories? What is the craziest thing you've ever seen?
oh my god. Well, for starters, there's a lot of like street racing for sure. Um, there's a lot of I don't know fights. Like I don't think there's been a year where I haven't heard like gunshots in my neighborhood or like gunshots in a school. Um, what some other crazy stuff? I mean, there was the Mandalay Bay in October, which is like I don't even know how many years ago now, but that's crazy. Um, a lot.
When you say fights, you are you talking about organized street fights?
I guess like shootouts.
Oh, really? With guns?
Yeah, that happens. It's kind of weird. Um, and it's weird because like I'm not even in North Las Vegas, and that's usually North Las Vegas stuff. Which I don't know if I'm correct on that. Any other residents, but if you have any of your North Las Vegas stories, for sure. Um, but no, then there's like the whole. Oh my gosh. So people set off a lot of fireworks. There's a lot of just a lot of homeless people that like to do like crazy stuff for sure. Like they'll stick around in the storm drains or they'll stick around in parks. Um, Lots of drug addicts here doing a lot of weird stuff for sure. Um, I don't know. Vegas draws in a lot of really cool, successful people. It just also draws in a lot of crazy people. Um, and then not to mention what goes on in casinos. I mean, there's just fights in the gambling rooms, fights in the poker floors. There's fights in the bars. Like, um, yeah.
How often do you get to go down to the strip with go into the casinos and?
It's more of like on holiday. So usually when it's busy, because that's when we have family in town, and we usually like to bring the family to the strip because they don't get to see it all the time. I mean, not like I get to see it more than them, but usually if there's like I don't know, usually around this time, summertime, like we'll at least go maybe once or twice because it's summer and there's like stuff to do down there even during the summer. Um, we like to do this thing called staycations, where we like to stay at the casino sometimes and stay in the hotel rooms or the suites or the like one time we actually stayed in a penthouse up at the Rio just for fun. And that's a pretty cool experience.
When you meet people, visitors, tourists, what are the conversations like? What do they ask you?
Um, it's kind of funny because they actually ask like if I go to the strip all the time, and I like to lie to them when I say I live in the strip. I say stuff like, oh, we live like underground or whatever, like all the houses are fake. We actually live in an underground network underneath the casinos because that's just funny to them. Or it's funny to me because they take it seriously for a second and they're like, wait, no. um, but a lot of the time they'll be like, wow, so like what's it like living here? And I'm like, well, it grows really fast for sure. Um, and usually the tourists, they don't really know like that there's so much construction going on or that there's a lot of things happening within the casinos themselves. I mean they do, but I think what I'm saying is they don't understand how fast these casinos are developing and like how fast they're already on to the next one. So by the time they come back, like I don't know, next year there's probably going to be like a new development somewhere. There's going to be like some new casino that's already built. Like didn't they just completed the Sphere like this year? Yeah, or even it was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year.
Something, yeah, and that was like done within 2 years, which is crazy. Um, so yeah, and then a lot of tourists are just like, they kind of get surprised when, you know, you say like you go shopping at a normal grocery store or something, or they're like, oh, you have this generic store here, and I'm like, yeah, I live here. It's Vegas. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't be here. So they, I don't know, they just don't really count that like we're also normal citizens, which I think is really funny.
And so, how does that make you feel when you get asked these questions?
It just makes me feel like my life here is like idolized. Um, like a lot of people think that we don't have a lot to complain about because we live in Vegas. But I don't think they could take into account that one, we're gonna have an energy that there's like a supposed energy crisis because Lake Mead's kind of going down and it's kind of our source of water, and we're in the basin in one of the most driest seasons of like ever, and they don't understand that like that's a big problem here. I mean, they also don't know about the education, they don't know about the crime, um, which arguably Vegas used to be a lot safer under the mafia, which is a whole other topic. But um, yeah, it just feels like they don't really seem to understand like the actual inner workings of Vegas. And okay, well, it's like glamorous at first, but when you live here, it's no, it's a lot different.
So I know your story a little bit, and I know you've done pretty well on your education journey. But for people that are born here and decide to stay here around your age,
For like university.
yeah, well, if they decide to stop their education, what you know, and they decide to go to get a job and to start working, what are their options for them?
There's a lot of options actually, and it's pretty common to not do that here.
To
Because
not do that or
to
to do it?
or yeah, to not do university and to go find a job. Um, there's a lot of opportunities. Like, I mean, you could go become a manager at like, I don't know, PetSmart or Pizza Hut or whatever. If you around my age, like a lot of people like to go into you know, just those minimum wage jobs just for fun, or maybe they'll pick up like two or three. I know a friend right now that's doing that. That's picking up like two or three jobs, because he didn't go to school. Um, some of them like to go to trade school instead, which is actually pretty cool because we have a few around here. The one I'm familiar with is probably AIM, which is the Aviation Institute of Mechanical something. Um, and that's for like, you know, if you want to be a mechanic for like the airplanes up in the strip. And that's actually pretty cool because when, you know, you go to trade schools like that in a city like this, there's a lot of opportunities you can do. Like, say you do go to the aviation school, okay, well now you have, like, you can go work for Boeing, or you can work on, you know, the, what's it called now? It's not called McCarran, it's called
Harry Reid?
yeah, the Harry Reid Airport.
Yeah.
And you can like move up pretty quickly in that, which is pretty cool. I'm not so sure about like other industries, but I know for sure that if you're looking for something here that, you know, you want to get certified on, if you don't want to go to school, you can find it here for sure.
Yeah, no, for my short period of time that I've been here, I've noticed that there is a high demand for, you know,
Trade workers?
yeah, for people to come because a
Yeah.
lot of people leave for some reason, and you know, they pay pretty well, you know, for that matter, because
Well, I mean,
there's
yeah, it's temporary.
yeah,
I mean, there's always like new stuff to build. Like, I mean, okay, the construction scene for sure I know is like always booming because they're always building new stuff. My dad was in D.R. Horton for like years. I think since he was like 20 something, and only like what 8 years ago he just got out of it because I was fifth grade. Yeah. And there was just always I think he built half the valley actually.
yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. All of these houses. I don't think he's ever worked on construction or worked on like casinos, constructing casinos. That's the word. But my uncle has. and he actually just finished the Durango that just popped up here. He did Resorts World. I believe he did Mandalay Bay. He did a lot of the casinos here as well. Um, and there was a lot of moving between that. Um,
That's good.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
those are massive operations. This is my last question about Vegas.
okay.
How will you compare this city to other cities that you know and that you've been to?
I can see why this city has a special charter for sure, because a lot of the other cities are, I don't know, they're not as busy. Um, they're not as, and if they're busy, they're not as like full of tourists. They're not as crowded. I mean, because I've really only been to cities like in the West Coast and the East Coast, and even on the East Coast, that was only Georgia. Um, but I mean, aside from LA, a lot of cities they're actually kind of sleepy. You see a lot of non-diversity, which is actually kind of funny. Because there's just, I don't know, there's so many different like races and ethnicities here. So to go to like Salt Lake City full of like white people and like only white people, that's funny. Um, it's weird to get treated differently there too. I mean, I kind of look it, but then when they see me with my brother, who looks like Hispanic and he's darker than I am, it's kind of weird because you both get treated differently. Um, I think other cities don't have so much like sinful things in their like big building area. It's, I don't know, it's like weird to see a city like a bunch of skyscrapers and they're actually all like private sector buildings with like offices and whatnot. Well, here you have a bunch of skyscrapers and they're like full of hotel rooms and like poker machines and I don't know, people with cigarettes or whatnot. It's like it's crazy that it's like dedicated to business. Um, but honestly, I think I would probably take that over casinos any day.
Right. Yeah, Sin City.
Right.
Yeah, I almost want to get into that a little bit. So, Sin City, they're making a business out of it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Um, Not a fan, but it definitely brings in money. I just wish that money would go to like a lot of other things and just like back to the casinos or to the police force or whatever. Because recently found out that like 50% of our budget goes to the police, and I'm like, why? um, that's a whole other thing. But I do wish that money was put more into infrastructure. I wish that money was put more into like again school for like the fifth time. Um, I wish that money was put into like restoring things, because there's a lot of things here that need improving, need like redoing, need a lot of refurbishment, and for some reason it's just being put toward like destroying things or building new developments or replacing old ones with new ones that aren't really necessary. Like they just replaced Bonnie Springs with, I don't know if you're familiar with Bonnie Springs. It used to be like this really pretty ranch or like this farm out outside of Vegas a little bit, and it was a place for kids, and it had all these animals. It was like old western themed, and it was like this kind of like, I guess, zoo slash like theme park. Um, and it was just a very charming little dinky place, and they replaced it with like a bunch of houses, and it closed like I don't know how many years ago, but that was my childhood. And I do wish that with all the money that we make, that I don't know, places like Bonnie Springs would be closed, or more places like Bonnie Springs would be opened up for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, it works. It's certainly a business that is like very lucrative, and it gets a lot of money. And okay, cool. I'm here.
Do you fear water, energy crisis, and how long do you think? Can you predict when will that happen, if that will ever happen?
Well, we had a pretty big scare like last year, and I think the year before that, when Lake Mead started dropping below like record level, like scarily below record level, and there was like things at the bottom of the lake that like, haven't hasn't been discovered for like I don't know, almost literally a century since like Vegas started. Um, I think it's got to be within like the next decade or two that there's going to be like some sort of water crisis. In fact, we have a whole, I don't know if it's a conspiracy or if it's like some kind of like just silly term for it, but we call it the water wars because it's theorized that, once the Southwest Basin starts, not getting enough water and, the Colorado River starts, running low enough that water will become like a really, what's the word? Um, like low resource or like very therefore making like very high valued, and people are going to start fighting for it because it's now like um in what's the opposite of surplus, it's
Sorry, you're asking a foreigner.
no, you're chill, but suddenly it's like lacking,
Yeah.
and there's a very low, there's a shortage, it's a shortage of water, um and it has the potential to cause people to like literally fight over it, like have a whole water war over it, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I don't want to be here for that. I'm going to be up in the north where there's a lot of runoff from the mountains and the river is like fine and the water is fine. And I don't have to think about, oh crap, I live in a city that's built in the middle of a desert, um, which was like a really silly idea in the first place. Like, why would you build in the middle of a desert? um,
Have you ever heard the term of the impossible city?
is that what it's called? Vegas?
I think I've heard someone once, or in a book. I can't remember. Yeah, the impossible city. Because
Well,
yeah, it's a city that was built in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
I
And I
mean, they
mean,
had water springs in the beginning.
no,
But
right. It's actually, Lake Mead is a man-made lake. Like that was not supposed to be there. We did that because we did the Hoover Dam, and then the Hoover Dam allowed water to fill Lake Mead, and we call it Lake Mead. Um, and that's the only source of water that we really get. So yeah, they're not really wrong calling it the impossible city because I mean, what happens when that man-made lake like runs out and stuff, Um, because I don't know, our water levels may be going up now, but who knows with the way that the global climate works and stuff. I think there's going to be a point where it goes down and just doesn't come back, or it doesn't get to bounce back. Because at this point, I mean, even when my generation runs the world, I know we're really like climate centric, and we want to like make all these policies and choices that will allow us to like mitigate this climate that we've created for the past decades. Because it's not about like stopping it, it's not about like putting it back to normal, it's about just mitigating damages that have already been caused by past generations neglecting those kinds of policies. And I feel like Lake Mead is definitely going to be collateral to that. It's going to be like a consequence.
yeah, but the little that I know, Las Vegas has always been a pioneer and they've been, I mean, great, with their water treatment, recycling, and the water usage. In fact, I think they never go over what they are allowed. What I understand is that California is sucking it all.
Yeah, it actually is. California is getting a lot of these permits to like use the most of the water because the Colorado River actually powers Arizona, Nevada, and California, um, which is a lot of territory to power. We kind of get the brunt end of it because there's a lot of regulations that have been put in place for the past while, being like only water your grass at this time. You need to use fake grass. What else? You can't have sprinklers if your sprinklers need to be set on a timer. I think Sundays it's not like illegal to use your water, but I think you'll get fined more if you're caught watering your plants that day. Which isn't insane, but I mean like it sucks that those are the measures that we have to take because like we don't have that much water. We have to like ration water per se. And to find out that California is getting like permits or like less of restriction, and to find out that water is going to like watering all these golf courses. Are you kidding me? That's really silly, but whatever. I don't know. That'll be a consequence for all of us eventually if that's how it's going to keep going.
Okay, enough about Las Vegas. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
So, what's the earliest memory that you can recall?
Of Vegas?
No,
Oh, of me.
of yourself. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay, no more Vegas.
it's not about Las Vegas anymore. It's about you. I mean, obviously, they're linked together, but
Right.
yeah. So, but let me ask you again, just so I can cut it.
Yeah.
What is your memory?
Bless you.
What is your earliest memory that you can recall?
That'd actually probably be all the way in Seattle, when I used to live there. Because in Seattle, I think I remember the Puget Sound. I remember the beach. I remember taking the ferry across the sound, to get to Everett. Because, I mean, I didn't live, like, in Seattle. I lived up in Everett, which is actually a little ways from Seattle. And you'd have to come down from Everett past the Boeing factory and then take the ferry, and then you get to Seattle. And I think I remember taking it a lot. I remember it was foggy all the time. I remember the house that we used to live in. It was like, it's honestly like Carl's house from Up, but it feels like painted green entirely. It was kind of a silly house. But yeah, I think if yeah, that's got to be my earliest memory for sure.
What are your dreams in life?
To, I mean, obviously be successful, but I think also be happy while doing it. I dream to be like creative and successful. I want to create things and get into all this entertainment industry, and not necessarily be famous for it, but just like, I don't know, make a really good living out of it, because I know I'd be happy there. I like to draw, I like to paint, I like to do a lot of art stuff. I like filming, and I really want to use that, as an adult for like money and to like make money more specifically. But also, to just like tell stories that I have, experiences that I've had in this really like tasteful way. But yeah.
So, what are the defining principles of success?
For me, probably, again, that I'm happy, that I'm financially stable, that not that I don't have to rely on my family, but more that my family can rely on me if they ever need it. That, I can help them and they can help me if I ever, if we ever need anything. I think maybe that if I need to, I can be flexible, I can adapt. And just, wherever I go, hit the ground running, go with the flow. It's probably just what I am most concerned about when it comes to success.
So, if you had enough money so that you didn't have to work ever again,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do?
Okay. I'd probably. This isn't embarrassing, it's just really weird. I'd probably keep a lot of fish. And I'd probably, like, start a club for, like, model train enthusiasts. I'd probably, I don't know, go paint. I don't think I would travel. And if I traveled, it's probably, like, linked to my hobby, for sure. Because because as like a model train enthusiast, a lot of people like to travel like out of state to go to these like meetups, these clubs, or these conventions to like set up their model trains or whatever. Um, I'd probably start some. I don't know. I'd probably grow a lot of plants in these fish tanks that I would keep full of fish, and I'd probably just like give them out to people. Because like I mean, as someone who's had to like, grow my own plants or like get plants for like starting out my own fish tank, it was really hard and really annoying. I'd rather just do that for people instead of like, let them struggle. Because I wish I had that when I was starting out. It probably took a lot more time to learn how to paint. I mean, because like I know how to do traditional art. It's just I literally know how to use like alcohol marker or watercolor or colored pencil, whatever. And I can use acrylic, I can use gouache, but I'm just not particularly good at it. So I'd probably just take a lot more time to just work with that for sure. Um, I'd probably go see my family more. If I really wasn't tied to like work or anything, and if I really had like like if I didn't just have to see them on the holidays, I'd probably hang out with my brothers all the time. Well, not like all the time, but like just do a lot of things or just drive down like maybe on the weekends or whatever, depending on where they are, or fly down, fly up. um, I think I would maybe go hiking. Do a lot of recreational skate for sure, because I like to skate. Um, but maybe a lot of recreational stuff that is just fulfilling for myself, and stuff that I like to do, when I'm not working, but I would just be doing that all the time, and I'd be able to invest a lot more time and money into it for sure.
That's great. So, would you say that are you generally happy?
I think so now. Um, and if I'm not, I'm finding it for sure. I think I'm content with where I am is more of the answer, because right now I'm just in between. I'm transitioning from like teenager to like young adulthood, and that's really exciting. And there's like this magic, of course, that everybody talks about, and I don't know, I kind of feel it. I mean, now that I've been 18, I kind of feel a little bit more independent. I just know when I go to Reno, I'll definitely feel it for sure. Um, but I'm happy because I'm finally here, and like I didn't lose sight of myself. I always had myself. And if I ever like strayed, I definitely came back and just remained true to myself, and that's really great. Um, and there's the whole idea of like, possibility and just like what I can do with my life, and it's the fact that like what I've been wanting to do with my life for like the past 4 years is now being realized, and it's actually really crazy because it's happening, and now it's like I have to keep going. Um, and that's but it's I'm gonna keep going on my own, and there's gonna be like I guess virtually nobody like congratulating me or telling me like, oh, you're a really smart kid, and like you're gonna be like a very famous director one day, like all the adults tell you. It's you're just gonna be starting at the bottom, and it's gonna be really nice because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really nice to have support from your family or whatnot. It's just like sometimes you do get that feeling where maybe they might overplay, or maybe they just might like overestimate, and it's just like, okay, well, you're just telling me that I'm going to be these things, but I'd really like to find out for myself if I can actually be these things. And graduating high school with high honors, with ranked 39th in out of like 450 students, getting certified in video production, already talking to like 3 different people in film, including you. That's like really exciting because it kind of shows that I already am, and now it's like, well, I wonder what I'm gonna do, when I'm like on my own, and like I'm gonna have to go find those opportunities for myself, and like look for people and just seek all those hidden things that it aren't just handed to you, or people aren't just like telling you to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, you are a very interesting person to me. You're extremely mature. I mean, compared to me when I was your age, I can't even remember what I was doing. You're very mature. You have your north. You know what you're doing. You have a plan, and yeah, you're super smart, and you're working hard for it. So
I better.
yeah, congratulations. What do you think about all day? What do you look forward in your day?
As of now, I think a lot about where I'm gonna be. Um, I mean, as a teenager, I think a lot about like who I'm gonna settle down with, and I don't know, like what my life's probably gonna be like at 40, which isn't far away, as far as I know. But I just wonder how fast it's all gonna go. And I also try to live presently in the moment. Um, I actually learned this new thing from one of my friends, or I guess one of my Theos. He likes to say, "Open your eyes," and what that usually means is open your eyes is by remembering, taking in everything that you're currently experiencing to like keep that memory there forever. Like I don't know, um, the sounds, the sights, the smells of that place. That's what you want to remember. That's what you want to take in, so that you can come back to it and remember it like vividly or whatever. And I try to do that a lot. There's a lot of things that I've been doing recently. Like since I graduated, I went to California. I went to LA for the first time. I saw the Hollywood sign. It's a real thing. That's crazy. Um, I went to Griffith. I went to Laguna Beach. I mean, I've been to Laguna Beach, but just all these. The magic of this summer is what I'm really trying to like take in. Just really trying to remember and hold on to before I like actually have to go. And it's fine. That's like fine. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wish this could happen forever. I wish this could like, I could just stay in this moment. It's more of like, I want to remember this moment so I can like revisit it when I need to. But I very much enjoy the process of like moving forward and keep going and, making new experiences for yourself. So I think about a lot of just these past things that I'm experiencing now and just holding on to them and thinking about like, what more am I gonna do? I think about my friends. I just had to say goodbye to them because I'm not gonna see them for the whole summer basically, and that's fine. I mean, like it's cool because I've been with them for like 3-4 years now. And like I'm like a really close, tight circle friends person. I'm not like I have hundreds of friends. I kept these people like really close to me for a while, and they're very aware of like my home life, and they're very aware of just my future, and I'm aware of their home life and their future, and just I wish the best for them, and I think about the next time I'm going to see them and what they're going to be doing, and I mean, literally 2 of my friends are valedictorians. One's actually going to Reno with me. One's going to UNLV. She wants to do, I think, biology or forensics, and then my other one also wants to do biology. I have my friend who is literally leaving like in a few days to go run a whole summer camp, and she has like all this scouts experience under her belt. She's hiked like thousands of miles. She's gotten all these badges. She's had all this experience like with CPR with all these people. Like just very social person. Like she's friends with like a race car driver, some model slash singer, a guy who's in the movies, and then, I don't know, her family's like in like high private sector business, which is crazy. So it makes me wonder like what she's gonna do, what school she's gonna go to, and then my other friend, he's gonna be a physicist, or yeah, he wants to do like nuclear engineering and or even like weapons for the military, and he can do it. Like he graduated also top of the class. He wasn't valedictorian, but definitely top of the class. Would have been valedictorian if he tried, in his words. But I think, I mean, we all suffered in the same high school system. We all hated it. So I think I'm really happy for them because they're gonna thrive in college for sure, and that's gonna be their place. And they're definitely gonna get to where they want to be for sure. And I'm really happy about that.
That's great. You're very lucky to have that Theo. That's beautiful what he's told you.
No, yeah, for
That's
real.
very, very powerful. Um, so, sorry, I had a question about friends here. Yeah, you were talking about friends. So, who are your friends? Who do you choose to surround yourself with, most importantly?
People who are smarter. Because I think it's really cool that I can like personally connect with them, but also learn from them as well, which is pretty cool. Um, Not that I don't want to surround myself with like people who are like less intelligent, but I think I more try to aim for people who have like different experiences from me that I can actually learn from, and they also have like a future and they actually care about their future and they want to work towards something in their life. Um, but it's funny because I didn't really choose them. uh, I met them in sophomore year, and it was because I was like this really quiet, weird, like introverted, bookish art kid in English.
Hmm.
And it was just more of me being me that like, drew them to me. And like, we saw all of each other grow from there. I don't know, but I think I decided to just stay with them, I think after the first year, and it was great. Um, and a lot of my friends are also people who have the same like passions as I do. And that's the best way to make friends, is just when you have similar interests and stuff. uh, I think when I did theater, I joined theater. I did a lot of my cell phone.
Yeah, you're
Um,
good.
Sorry. Uh, but when I joined theater, I actually made a lot of friends. My network grew like a ton. And so now I have a lot of friends from theater as well who do want to do theater, after high school, and they actually want to be like theater teachers. They want to be directors. They want to be actors. I have a few friends who graduated already who are in UNLV majoring in theater, um, which is pretty cool. Um, and those people are, I mean, theater kids in general are just like wacky and zany, but they're very passionate people as well, and they also have like dreams, and um, even though they may not have the same academic drive, maybe not the same like uh, motivation I do, they're still like great people to like learn from just personally and mature with them. Um, a lot of people think that maybe I got lucky, but a lot of people think that theater kids are like very gossipy, um, very much wear their heart on their sleeve. But I was lucky because I didn't really have any drama with them at all. There was no toxicity. There was no like nothing between me and like other theater people. I've always been like really chill with them, and um, they've always loved me, and I always loved them, and that's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, those are who my friends are, and those are the people that I think for sure I'm gonna talk to a lot, even after high school. I know in college there's going to be friends that I'm going to make that for sure lifelong, because again, college, and I know there's going to be like theater groups I'm going to join in college, and I'm going to make more of those friends. That there's been people in my classes in college that I'm going to talk to forever. Um, I just think it's the fact that I made friends now who where high school like isn't just where they peak, isn't where they stop, is where I believe that I'm going to talk with them, forever, because they truly do have like they're like me, mature, emotionally intelligent, very driven, and I know for sure that college is going to be their place to thrive for sure, and I'm gonna make, gonna remain in contact with them for a while.
And so, what about the opposite? Who are the friends that you do not want to surround yourself with?
Um, Aside from like the generic like people who I don't know, smoke or drink whatever, just like have no aspirations in life, people who take advantage of you, people who are actually intelligent enough to see that you're going somewhere and try to bring you down. It's really weird like how many people actually can do that, and it's like actually kind of scary because those are the people you look out for not the ones who are like very blatantly like awful people or very blatantly like people you do not want to be friends with, people who can appear to be your friend and then later like actually screw you over or actually, like stab you in the back. Those are the people that I'm not like scared of, just very wary of. Um, Definitely a whole thing of like keep your heart guarded, for sure. Um, there's this, maybe the underlying fear of investing your time into these friendships only for them to like, stab you in the back or whatever, and you wasted all that time experiencing these things with all these people, and it turns out they actually didn't care at all. Um, so yeah, I think I'm scared of the people who just genuinely are very apathetic, very sorry.
No worries.
Uh,
Can you fix your cable a little bit?
is it my bad?
It's okay, it's okay.
Very like.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Just I'm generally in fear of the people who are apathetic, who don't really seem to care about other people. They can be successful, but can you go out with them? I mean, can you like do anything with them without feeling like garbage afterwards? Can you have a conversation with them without being put down? It's weird stuff like that where it's just like, well, these are people I'm going to be talking to and investing, part of my life into for maybe the rest of my life potentially. So I'd really rather not like waste that by making friends with people who just only seem to care about themselves.
What what has been your biggest heartbreak or hard lesson from someone that you thought was a friend, or someone you thought care for you, and like you said, they stabbed you in the back? Can you share?
Yeah, I can. I think it actually happened this year because there was just this person, I don't know, who I thought was genuinely chill, just like a quirky person to be around, to have like fun conversations with. Um, they were fun, and they had a car, and I mean I didn't have a car, so obviously like they're cool, and when you have friends who like want to take you places and be like, oh yeah, come go out with me, those are chill people. It just turned out that more of the time that I spent with them was more of a ploy to like, this is like so high school drama weird. Like, this is somewhere Netflix plot right now. She actually just wanted to get close to me because she wanted to get close to my brother because she liked my brother, and she spent all this time at my house, in my apartment. Spent all this time with me like after school. Spent all this time going out with me because she had a crush on my brother, and it was really weird when I found that out. Because not only did she hang out with me, but she also hung out with my friend circle, with like my very close friend circle, and she tried to like make herself a part of that and like insert herself into that when she wasn't. It was weird because then she would say like one thing to me and then another thing to another person, or like maybe another thing to my close friend, and then my close friend would come back to me with that, and she was like, are you aware that like she's saying this? And I'm like, no. Well, that's really weird. And it got really strange after that because then she became like really emotionally dependent, and then she started like making all these mistakes and then expecting us to like clear them up for her, like do things for her when we specifically clarified like, hey, that's not our stuff to deal with, like that's kind of your thing to deal with, and you're not going to involve us with that. And she did anyway, and it was really annoying, and it was really frustrating because I'm like in my senior year, I'm trying to graduate, I'm trying to get all this academic stuff done, and she's here being like, oh well, there's just this drama that's going on, and like I'm going to play the victim and blame everyone else around me and like not say it's my fault. I'm going to like admit it's my fault, but like in the most non-direct, most non like what's the word? Non-responsible way possible, non-accountable way possible. And it was really weird because it's like, because then she always kept saying like, oh, I want to do better, I'm gonna do better, and then like didn't, and then she'd be like, well, it's because of this, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have time. Like I want to do all this cool stuff, and you're kind of here just being like, like listen to my drama, like play into like my weird delusions, play into like all this weird drama that I'm creating. Like, no. And it hurt because I was like, I genuinely thought you were a cool person, who had a cool future, but you're like getting yourself like really caught up in like this stuff that's not gonna matter in like the next few years. It's really stupid. Um, I think another one that I can think of is probably maybe like my junior, maybe my sophomore year.
Hang on, hang on. If because I'm curious. So, did your brother found out?
Oh yeah, I told him immediately because I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna let her be around you if she's gonna behave like that. Cause not only did she tell him that she liked him, but he told her that she wasn't his type, and then she continued to still be like, oh well, I still like you, so I'm just gonna keep pursuing you. Ew, ew, no, like don't do that. That's weird. And she tried to throw herself on my other friends' boyfriends or whatever, and it was really bad. And then she tried throwing herself at Nathan, and I was like, no, no, you're done, because like, uh,
So where is she now?
well, she's a junior, so she's gonna still be in school, but I don't know, I cut her off, and she realized that, and she realized she screwed up, and she tried making amends with me, and I was like, I'm really not obligated to. I mean, go and live your life respectfully, but I'm not obligated to be around for that or be there for that. Because honestly, I just don't care anymore, and I just didn't want to be friends with her anymore. So, she's gonna learn something really hard if she didn't learn something hard already from us in senior year. Because as far as I know, she's still like getting herself involved in all that and all this weird stuff where she throws herself at her friends' boyfriends or whatever. She likes, people, the brothers of her friends or whatever. Just all this really weird stuff. So yeah, I mean,
That's good.
cool
No,
for her.
that's good. Yeah, yeah. No. Sounds like you handled the right way.
Yeah, I just don't have time for those kind of people. So you know what, you're just not going to be in my life. um, but yeah, it's those kinds of people that pretend to like be like cool, and then you find out they're actually you know talking garbage behind your back, and say things about you, or have this just generally different opinion of you that they want to share with the people, that you're like, damn, what did I do? You know? And you never want to wonder about that. You never want to wonder that about yourself. Like, ever. Because you should always just be secure in yourself, and, your friends should always be, reassuring, who you become, and your security in yourself. At least in my opinion.
So now that this happened, are you more cautious?
Guarded, for
Or
sure.
guarded when
Did you say why?
No. I mean,
Oh.
are you more guarded, like before opening yourself to someone that you think is gonna become your next friend, or?
I mean, I'm open, for sure. I'm not like not like bitter. I'm not like misanthropic. I'm actually like really genuine when it comes to like meeting people at first and like talking with them. And I think after a while, if I figure that they're a cool person, I'll maybe be like, hey, let's go out here. Oh, hey, we should do this together. And if I find out they're like not a cool person, I'll probably just slowly stop talking to them. Slowly, like, I have plans with other people. My bad, or even then, like, it doesn't even have to be like avoiding them. I just don't open. I'm just not as open with my life. Like that one friend who she threw herself on my brother. I think after a while I just stopped telling her details about my life, because why would I want to tell her things about my life for her to like know about, if she's just gonna like try to use that to get closer to me, and then like win brownie points with my brother and with my mom, because she did talk to my mom. Just get her more involved in my life than I'd want her to be. I'd really rather just talk with her about like school or college, not about like, what my mom is up to this time or what Nathan's going through or what I'm going through. Because I just know eventually like they're just gonna use that against you, or they're gonna use that for some kind of ulterior thing, which sucks. So yeah, I think moving forward in college, I'm hoping that college. Well, I know that college is not going to be like high school at all socially, for sure. Um, I just think I'll do a better job of being more of a no person. Admittedly, I was kind of a pushover when I was in high school, where I couldn't really say no, or I didn't really set like a lot of boundaries with a lot of people. Um, but I think this year, gotten way better at it. Um, I've done a good job just like making sure to like prune who's not necessarily like who is not like beneficial to my life. Um, and I think as long as I keep it up in college, I'll be good. I'll be happy. I just just gonna take a lot shorter time than it did this year, because this was the year where I just learned not to be a pushover. That's cool.
Well, you live and learn.
No, yeah, for sure.
Uh, Man, I can talk to you forever, man.
Really?
Are you good on time?
Yeah, no, like literally my whole day it's open.
Cool.
I have nothing.
I still have a full page of questions.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, so Alright, describe your mind. How does your mind? What kind of mind and how does your mind work?
Um, it says a lot of things all at once, and I mean, my brain is definitely faster than my mouth for sure, because I think on the outside I perceive myself to be like a very patient person, or like on externally people perceive me as a very patient person, but on the inside it's just like a lot of things being said at once, and there's a lot of anxiety going on in there. And I'm glad I have the anxiety that like that makes me productive. Otherwise it would just be festering in there and I would have nothing to do with it. Um, but there's definitely also a lot of like social anxiety going on there as well. Like I tend to overthink like social situations a lot. Um, I tend to overthink like a lot of what people say or a lot of what people do, and I generally just like not necessarily ignore that, but just like try to be mindful of like what exactly I should be focusing on, because it's like stuff like that where I overthink like, oh no, like he's gonna like hate that I said this, or oh he probably like was disgusted with when I said this, or she said it like this, like why did she say it like that? Like that's not really stuff that matters. And if anything, I have the kind of people that I can clarify it with, and I definitely have the communication skills to do so. So on either way, I'm fine. I'm covered because I can work it out, and there's no problem in that. But I definitely just wanted to like not think about those things a lot of the time. I think a lot of the time I frame things in a way of like 100% or not. Um, like I remember, not remember, but just more recently, I've come out of the mindset of you have to put in your 100% for everything, and this mindset of like people may tell you that you're successful, but if you know yourself that you didn't put in 100%, then it doesn't matter. I really had to like chill out with all that stuff because I think I gave myself a really hard time for just the success I've had, and like really crediting myself for that. I think especially in junior year, because junior year I was taking like 3 AP classes and a lot of honors classes, and I was taking a lot of electives. And I was doing like theater, like an extracurricular on top of all of that. I had a whole musical to do, and that took like 3 months of my time. And I still like studied hella and did a lot of work, like even while I was doing the musical, because I told myself like if you do not like put your all into like everything, like you are not going to set yourself up, like you are not going to succeed. Like there's no way that you'll be able to like pay for college. There's no way you're gonna be able to even get into college if you don't do what you do. which is why I say like the anxiety that I have makes me really productive, because it's that fear that is what motivates you into like doing things, because it's either you succeed or you die. Like eventually, like you'll die alone, die broke, die unhappy, um just in a way that's like not satisfactory, just in a way that you do not want to. And I just really rather not spend time doing that. So I put all of my time into my work, because as long as I keep doing that, then I'm setting myself up. And I've learned more recently that I do need to like slow down, or at least like not be like put my 100% into everything, because that means that you burn out. That means that you stop yourself a lot more than you would just like taking a break. Because I think like what ended up happening was that I worked so much that I actually burned out this year. Didn't put me behind, just I definitely could have performed better if I just like took those breaks, or just took that time for myself. And you could say like maybe me burning out and then like seizing a lot of the work I did was me taking time for myself. But then you kind of sit there thinking like, well, you've taken so much time like for yourself, like you need to like keep going, or you need to pick this stuff back up, because no one's going to do it for you. If you don't do it, you're going to screw yourself over. You risk your diploma. Like I literally almost did not get my diploma because of this year. And that was spooky, but I also don't know how much of that was the faculty trying to scare us into like working, or how much of that was me just like burning out. Um, Last year I actually had a pretty big scare, because I think December, like I got so overwhelmed I just passed out in class, like legit just fainted, and I thought it was because of like what we were learning in psychology, because sometimes psychology can just get disgusting, and we learned about this guy who basically lost like half of his, not like lost half of his brain, but just lost like his frontal lobe, because a pole like went through his chin, all the shit at like 50 miles per hour. um,
And you survived?
he survived, and he actually like went on to live a pretty normal life, but it's his like the center of his brain regulating like his personality and like his temper was like all screwed up, and he actually came out with a completely different personality. Instead of being patient and chill, he was actually like really short fused, um and he just was always angry all the time, and it was because of that simple like removal of his frontal lobe that just like completely messed with that. Bless you.
Sorry.
You're chill.
I guess I'm hungry.
I actually have so much for you. um so they were showing that in class, and I was like, that's pretty disgusting. I like it started out as being like I wanted to throw up, and I was like, oh man, I better not throw up in this class, that's really disgusting, like that's really embarrassing. Then like like things start like appearing and disappearing, like everything, there's like this black like a vignette kind of around your eyes, and then you're like, you know what, I feel tired, I'm just gonna go to sleep. And I put my head down, and I woke up on the floor, like with the lights on. I woke up on the floor, and um my psychology teacher was like kneeling above me, and he was like, are you okay, you were out for like a few minutes there. And I was like, I said sorry. I was like, oh sorry, this is really embarrassing. um because I was embarrassed. I was like, clearly there's something wrong with me, and I didn't take the time to like deal with it, and now I like just passed out in front of the entire class, like because it turns, I don't know, when you faint, like you just go completely limp. And I guess like when you put your head down, I don't know, when you go to sleep on a desk, it's different than when you just like pass out, because at least you like you're unconscious but you're holding yourself up. But when you like faint, like everything goes limp. So I guess I just like whatever was holding me up just didn't, and I just fell out. um so that was weird.
Wow. Yeah.
And I didn't feel any of that. Like literally when I closed my eyes and put my head on the desk, I think like I didn't feel myself fall. I didn't like, I hit something, but I didn't feel that. I just woke up on the ground. Main point, um, it was just really scary, and I was told that I needed to like pull out of my classes, and I was like, I can't do that. Just because I passed out one time doesn't mean I need to like stop or necessarily change, my curriculum. And I'm glad I didn't, because are you familiar with the AP system?
Not really.
Okay. So AP exams are called advanced placement courses, and basically they're like courses that kind of prepare you like at the college level for things, or at least, at the very least, you can get credits for them that you can apply towards colleges. Um,
So we're
and
just kind of putting the pedal to the metal, kind of a thing.
yeah, it was very rigorous, and I actually ended up taking. I took AP US History, which is, aside from calculus and Calc AB and BC, is the hardest AP class to take because the entire class is in preparation for an exam, and the exam is really hard. Because it requires you to do a lot of question answering in a very short amount of time. You have about 3 hours to answer 80 questions, and then you also have like a bit of that time as well to write 3 essays. So you had about an hour to write. No, you had an hour to answer multiple choice questions, and then you had an hour and a half to write 3 essays, all based on historical knowledge because it's U.S. history. So I had to learn from like 1492 to like 2005 within what, 9 months? Yeah. So, and we had like 40 chapters that we had to go over within the whole school year, and we barely made it. Um, and yeah, I actually did a lot for that class. I spent a lot of time like writing a lot of notes. Some of my notes turned to be like 20 pages long for just one chapter. And sometimes the chapter itself was like 29 pages, 30 pages. It got harder as the year went on. Um, but yeah, no. Um, it was really hard.
It is a lot of pressure for someone your age. Are you generally usually satisfied with when you complete a project?
Sometimes.
How hard are you on yourself?
I mean, a lot of the time I do try to like put a lot of effort into what I do, but I have to do it within a very short amount of time. Um, so it's very hard to like accept when I can't, and then like when I have to like turn it in, not fully the way I would like it, or just not in the perfectionist way I would like it to be. It's like annoying, but I still get a grade for it, and then I get a good grade for it, but then I'm still like. And here's the thing: is like maybe it's just me, or maybe it's a CCSD, but it's really easy to get like an A in a lot of classes. So when I get an A in classes, I just don't believe it because I just like the standard is too low. Like the bar is like not high enough, and with the way that last year just went, it's definitely not high enough. Like they're at this point, they're just moving kids through the system to get them to get their graduation numbers up. They're not putting anything into their programs to have a better education or have like a better curriculum. They're just dropping the standards that it's a lot easier for more kids to pass, so they can say, oh look, our graduate number is higher, so that we can move up a rank. There is nothing about like hey look, we have better teachers, a better system to use, and these kids are actually getting it and grasping the concepts, and they're actually like on par with like the rest of the nation. We're ranked 49th in education out of 50. I don't remember what the bottom is, but still, like we shouldn't be there. Um, so yeah, I mean that's why I took AP exams, because that's a national measure. That's not, it's not just normal public education done by the state. This is like national curriculum that's done by every student, or not every student, but done by students in every state. Um, and it was really validating when I scored really high, because it's ranked on a 5 scale. So like 1 is like 20%, a 2 is like 40%, 3 is like 50 or 60%, or maybe even 70%. 4 is like 80%, and 5 is obviously like a 100 or 90%, like on a grading average. I got 4s and 5s on my exams last year, on my AP exams last year. So it was really validating when they told me like, you need to drop these classes, you need to slow down. And I was like, no, suck it. Because not only did I just get A's in my normal public ed classes, but I just got like A's in my like national, rigorous exams. And while I would like, I wouldn't do it again. It was just, nice to see all that work pay off, and like actually, for once being hard on myself actually worked, and like the anxiety was like all worth it. Um, but I know that I probably need to like find a more healthier, probably more chill way to deal with all that, so I don't have like all that building up in my head. Because I mean, last year I took no breaks, and I did not take that time for myself. And if I did, I was like, this is stupid. You need to be working. And then this year, I mean, I did take breaks, and I was still like, this is stupid. You need to be working. Because I took two AP classes this year. I took AP Literature and I took AP Pre-Calc. And Pre-Calc sucked for sure. I definitely could have done better. AP Lit was a breeze because I took AP Language last year, and that's more on like how to make an argument, like with like rhetorical analysis and like I don't know, oratory things. Just how do you amass all these facts and then create like a defensible thesis? And then literature is like read all this fiction and then like analyze what the themes within this fiction or this literature and then make like a defensible thesis based off like the literature. So I did fine with that. I know I'm gonna do fine with that. Um, but yeah, I
That's
think
that's pretty impressive, man. Very, very impressive. Where do you think this this drive comes from? Where all this motivation, all this
uh
thirst?
when my dad told me that he's not paying for my college, because he said that like my freshman year, he was like, I'm not paying anything. Like, if you go to college, like you're gonna do it all on your own. And I was like, shit. So I was like, you gotta like get on that, and I did because I needed that scholarship money. I needed those grades. I needed that ACT score because otherwise I would have been so screwed over. With the way college is now, yeah, no, I would not been able to like make it with just whatever money I made from summer job. And also, like, I did not want to take a bunch of loans. The whole thing. I mean, my dad's very financially in adept, not inept, adept. Um, and he's very good with his money. He knows how to invest in stocks. He knows how to pay off loans. My stepmom as well. She also has student loans, and I've learned a lot about them when it comes to just like managing things financially. Um, and okay, they taught me that it's not a bad thing to take loans. Um, really, like it's as long as you're gonna make something out of what you took student loans out for, then you're good. As long as you're getting into a career where you can pay those off, then totally take them. So it was that fear of like, oh crap, like what if I, need loans for my education, but then I don't, I don't get into a career where I can like pay off those loans. So the drive certainly comes from let's not be in financial ruin. It also just comes from like being told that a lot of my passions weren't like career worthy. Initially, I was going to go to art school. I applied to a lot of art schools, and I was even looking at one in Oregon. I was looking at one in Georgia. I was looking at one in San Francisco, California. Isn't that crazy? Um, and I was just told all the time, like, it's not going to pay the bills. You can't do art. You can't start out with art because, like, you're going to be starving. There's no money in art. Something like that. And, I mean, it was my family who didn't do art, so I was like, well, you're wrong. And then the more when COVID hit, I got into like this online. Are you familiar with Discord at all? It's okay. Well, I just got into a bunch of online forums. With a bunch of other artists who did professional work, who did like freelance work, who did it just as a hobby, and it was just a big like conglomerate of these experiences of all these different people, like hundreds of different people, and they were right. They also said like, yes, there is no money in art. Like you either have to like be insanely good or just like you have to know people, or you just have to have a lot of money to burn if you're going to do this like starting out. Um and if you don't know anybody, then you got to get into the really top expensive schools that require you to like get into the industry without actually having to know people. And I was like, crap, okay. And then I was lost because I was like, well, what else am I going to do? And then I was doing video production in high school, and I was like, actually, I'm really good at this. And my teacher really likes the work that I do. My teacher really likes like everything that I've submitted so far even said that he wanted to submit it to like some kind of student festival or whatnot, and that was actually kind of a big win. So I was like, I could do film and still be happy because, you know, I was a very artistic person, and I know that the process sometimes comes with like a little bit of that, and I think it's what storyboards is what drew me in, is because I like drawing a lot. I think I'm not like, screw color theory. I'm sorry, but like, screw color theory so much because painting is so hard with it, and that's why I like drawing. Um, because it's just pencil, it's just black and white. I love inking, and storyboards don't require color or painting or color theory. So when I had to make a bunch of storyboards and I had to do all this stuff for myself, to create these student films, I actually loved it. And I was like, damn, I should like make a career out of this if it was even possible. Um, and he was even telling my instructor was even telling me stuff like, I have a guy, who just wanted to do storyboards, for his job, and now he just does that and he makes like good money. And I'm like, okay. So I figured film is the medium in which I can still do that artful passion while also learning, other good skills like technical skills and learning all this other stuff as well. So if you can, if you need to, you can do all that stuff, work your way up, and then get back into that passion. Do it as a side gig, or even do it as part of your career. So that's just kind of where I'm at. So the drive is also just coming from like, suck it, I actually can do art. There's money in art. It's just not in the way that you think.
There you go.
And that's really nice.
I
Just
love
yeah.
that. Well, I mean, looking back, I think I take my hat off to your dad because I think that's the best thing he could have done for you.
Yeah, tell me that I'm on my own. For
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad he did. I'm really glad he did. I'm glad he raised me to be independent, for sure. I'm glad he raised all of us to be independent. I think it'd be scary if I was like, I want to stay here, I don't want to leave, or can I just live with you guys? If I was like that, I'd probably cry like a lot because I don't know, I'd probably like perceive myself as some like failure or whatnot. Because I mean, at this age, like you're kind of expected to be like independent, but also like not independent. But in this economy, you can't really be independent. So it's not a bad thing to like live with your parents at this age either. It's just like I was raised that you should, set yourself up very early on from the get-go so that you don't have to do that. I mean, it's okay to do that, and my parents have always been like, it's okay if you need to, and if you need a place to stay, you'll always have a place to stay here. You just need to keep going, and you just need to keep moving forward if you're going to do that. And I didn't want to do that. So, I did like a lot of work myself, so I hopefully will not have to do that. Because again, I might put my all into it, and I'm definitely going to work myself like hella. But there's always just that underlying fear of like, what wrench is going to be thrown into your way that's going to like throw you off completely, that's not in your control. And while I can only worry about things that are in my control, it's just really scary about like, like having to adapt to the things that are out of your control. And like, adapting and coping with the, okay, well, this isn't where I'm going to go now, and now I have to go like this different way, and that sucks. But I still have myself, and that's okay, and I know eventually like it'll get better, but right now it just sucks.
Well, I mean, brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Alright. Okay. What is your obligation to this world?
To tell stories. To also just give people the patience and time that they need. For sure. I feel obligated to like provide the kind of space that people need to just be themselves, or just, I don't know. I've always been told I'm a really good listener. That people like talking with me. That they love having conversations with me. Because I don't know, it's something about how I engage or just how I listen, I guess, but I think it's really nice that, I get to do that for people, and, for the people who haven't ever had that I do get that. I'm not like some kind of like moral guide. I'm not like some kind of dude who's going to give you a lot of wisdom or advice. I do have an ear. I mean, I do have experiences that I can tell you about if you need to hear that. Um, and I don't know what the experiences I have told people about, it helps them anyway. And they're just like, oh, you're so wise. Like, you know so much and you give like the best advice. And I'm just like, well, this is just it's just what I wish I would have been told. You know, when I learned things and, you know, when I wasn't given that time, you know, to like talk to people or just like experience things with people. Um, so I think I'm not obligated to like, you know, take on problems for people, but I do feel obligated to like at least, you know, give themselves a breath. Um, and I guess maybe the obligation to myself within the world is probably to, yeah, tell stories, make stories, share those experiences that I've had with other people to a broader perspective. So technically, it's what, you know, people tell me I'm good at is what I'm doing for my career, because, you know, I'm telling these people my experiences, I'm giving them advice, and I'm listening to them, and then in turn for my career, I'm like taking these experiences and all this other stuff and all these morals and putting it into like, I don't know, whatever medium I might do in the future, and then broadcast it, I think. So, um, yeah.
That's very powerful, and I think it's very positive. And I think we need we need someone like you to share those stories.
I guess if you had one word, it would, my obligation is optimism. So yeah.
Very cool. Okay, what is your favorite song right now?
Ooh, good one. Um, Forever by Labyrinth. I never watched Euphoria, but Labyrinth is just really good at, I don't know what he does. And I love like, it's just the way that he sounds like very soulful, but also modern, and also like R&B, but also like electric, and it's passionate and it makes you like feel things. It's not timeless for sure. It's definitely like one of those young people feelings, one of those young people songs. Um, but it feels also like ethereal. I don't know. Um, when I listen to songs, I don't like listen to it one time. I like loop things like over and over. Like I'm one of those people who listens to stuff. Like, I don't know if you've seen those clips on YouTube where it's like this song, but it's looped for like 10 hours.
Well, I didn't know such thing existed.
So yeah, that's a thing. And I listen to those a lot. Not in one sitting, obviously. Just like, but sometimes I will legit just like either that, or I'll go on Spotify, put it on loop, and that's the only thing I listen to for like the next hour or so. I don't care.
Wow.
It's like I love it so much, and I take in every since like second of it over and over. And I think with me, it's because like whenever I listen to a song, there's like this story or narrative that forms in my mind, and I listen to it over and over so I can get each detail right. Um, and if I feel like if I didn't develop something enough, or like this one feels like out of place, or like I have to replay the song, and then I have to like do my narrative over again, like make it cohesive. So like a music video, like I'm creating a music video in my head while I'm listening to it, not with myself in it, or maybe sometimes with myself in it, but like it's, I don't know. Music is like a way for me to like write without actually committing to writing, because I like to write, but it's so much time and it's so much work, and it's like my thoughts go way too fast for it to be like, you know, created on paper. But you know, because then I have these new ideas, and I like delete and then make again, delete and make again. And with songs, it's like there's this 3 minute like time constraint that you have, like this limit that you have of a story that you can create. For my student projects, I loved making like music videos, because like it wasn't necessarily centered around like the artist like being at a camera and being like while rapping. It was like it was a song being played in a narrative, and the song matched the narrative. It played along with the narrative. Um, so yeah, Labyrinth is like one of those songs where I just feel like it's like very beautiful and like very ethereal, very
What does it? What is there a message to the song? What does the song talk about?
Well, it's actually really funny because it's way more instrumental than anything, which are kind of my favorite songs is when they're instrumental. Um, but literally the only lyric he sings throughout the entire thing is "I'll live forever," which is why the song's called Forever. Um, I mean, I don't know if it's like if it's that deep, but it definitely has like this whole, I guess, like timeless touch just for it being called Forever, but not timeless in the sense that it's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like earthly. I don't know. Like it feels like it's supposed to be universal. Like it's supposed to be like something that's timeless, just like across the universe, not just something like on Earth. Um, if that makes sense. Um, like this is a sound that comes from not Earth. That's why I like it so much because it's beautiful and it's yeah.
That's what music is all about. It's supposed to make you feel. It's supposed to make you dream and
Yeah.
and travel without moving. Okay. Um, so, what can we expect of Lucas? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
In 5 years, I'm graduated. Um, class of 2028. Employed. I will be employed either in Reno, either if Georgia's still doing movies in Georgia, then maybe Georgia. Um, just wherever I'm needed, I will probably be there. Because I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Reno. I don't know if I'm going to come back to Vegas because I know that Mark Wahlberg and Sony's all coming down here. It's just that I don't want to be there. like, I know it's a really great opportunity, and I know it's like, it's actually going to be really good. It's just, I do not want to be back here. For my career at all, I do not want to stay here. And yes, it's because of like the water crisis, and that is just because of like the rising tensions, and that is just because of like, I don't know. And the fact that like, all these Californians are moving down here, everyone's moving down here, houses are going up. It's like, you know what, I'm just not gonna see what the effects of that are in 5 years. And love Sony, love, I guess Mark Wahlberg or whatever. I don't, but, I can't do it. I think I'm gonna go, not like travel like for self discovery, but travel because it's part of my work. And as far as I know, that's what's expected, is to be able to travel and like go all these places when you have to do it, right? Yeah. So, just
I think that's the best learning in life, when you see other places, meet other people.
yeah. So I'll just expect myself to be behind a camera in a studio with a crew. It's not going to be a place, it's going to be who I'm with. And that's okay.
Can you talk about this person?
I guess like, do you usually travel with like a director, or is it like a company, or like?
Oh no, I thought you were referring like your life partner, or
Well, that's definitely not gonna be in 5 years.
Oh,
I
no.
feel like I cannot settle down like at all for the next 10, because I feel like I need to establish myself and get my personality and get my stuff in order, like personally, before I can go and pursue someone. Because at least like if I were to do that now, like I'm still changing. I still have a lot of things coming up in my life. Like that's not. I actually just broke up with someone because like I'm moving forward in life, and they're too dependent and too insecure, and I'm like, I can't do that. And I mean, it's funny because even going into high school, I was like, you're not gonna date. Like, young love is a trick. High school love doesn't last. And you need to like be an academic weapon above anything else. And then I still dated people, and well, I only dated 2 people. Because I like end of junior year, I dated this one guy, and then I actually ended up breaking up with him like a month later, because turned out he lied. then it's funny because I broke up with him and I was like, oh, I'm pretty secure in myself. That's why I'm breaking up. And then I think like 2 months later, my very close friend was like, so there's this person. And I was like, no. But then I still did it anyway. And I did it anyway because I was like, oh, this is a person that I think I can, like, he seems like he has his career in mind and he seemed like very driven as well. He wasn't. And I was right. Like, young love does not last. And it's very, like, fleeting. And it's very, like, emotional. And it's very, like, it's more of, like, a feeling than it is a choice. And it's, like, kind of disgusting. So I think in 5 years, I'm definitely just going to be up in my career. I'm definitely just going to be building my career because I'd really rather, I know that's, like, not feelings related. That's not romantic. Um, that's, like, that's a choice all the time, you know? And I want to have that in order. I want to be financially stable. I want to have everything. I want to do things on my own before I like do things with another person. Because I think that's just the best idea, at least for me. Because I just proved to myself, like, yeah, young love is not it. And I mean, that was high school. That was high school. I don't know how it's going to be in college, but even then, like, I'd rather just go to college single and go to college happy because it is so stressful and so exhausting, like, investing yourself in all this stuff while also trying to, like, balance, like, your grades and balance your, friendships and connections, stuff like that. Like, you should be, you know, getting to know people and networking, not going on dates or, like, sacrificing your time to, like, go out with this other person. Which is what I wish I did, in my senior year. I ended up putting all my time in with this guy, like, for basically my entirety of my senior year, and I missed out, like, hanging out with my friends because, I was just with him all the time, and that wasn't fun. I mean, it was fun, but it's the fact that it was temporary and the fact that it was exhausting and the fact that it sucked, actually, that I was like, damn, I really should have just been, with my circle and hanging out with these new people. Because my valedictorian friend, she, like, made this new circle of friends that I get to hang out with. So I was always like, oh, well, I'm out with Ryan right now, so... what's it called? In 5 years, I should be... I should know a lot of people. I should have a lot of connections. I should have a lot of opportunities before me. I should have a lot of internships under my belt. I should have money saved because work study, maybe jobs, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna do work study for college, so that's guaranteed. And I guess I'll be living in an apartment. Like, again, like, I don't know how this traveling stuff works yet. I'll have to, like, find it out. Like, if where I'm living is being paid for, or if I just, like, bring my own stuff. So I know for sure I'm not gonna buy anything. Like, I'm not gonna buy a house. I can't do that, especially with the way the market is. I don't know what it's gonna be like in 5 years. It's
Well,
impossible.
sorry, I am now realizing that it was a mistake to put a limitation on the time. Um, can you go farther down the line after 5 years, 10, 15, 20?
10, 15, 20 years, I should be not settling. Maybe just, like, falling into a groove. Maybe not settling. I feel like getting into a groove versus settling is different. Because I feel like settling means that, like, you slow down, or you're just kind of quitting on things, and you're not, you're putting things down, or just walking away from stuff to, I guess, more, focus on yourself, which is not a bad thing. But I just feel like my career is just not going to end in that amount of time. Or it's just, like, not going to be, like, that fixed in that amount of time. Maybe it will be. I don't know what I'll be doing. Right now I aspire to be in film, so whatever I do in film, it better just be, like, in one place, be in one city, because... Or maybe it doesn't have to be, like... My dad's 40 and he still travels like hella. But I think if I'm, like... I definitely want to be married by 40. Just because there is that financial stability, there is that emotional stability, there is the security, the commitment that comes with marriage, um, not to mention like the tax benefits and everything like that. Um, but I'm kind of just uncertain about that right now, just because, like if my career is, as flighty and as like mobile as I perceive it to be, then like how am I ever gonna settle down? Like how am I ever going to like, you know, have feelings for someone if I'm always traveling? Like if I'm always having to be away. But who knows? Like what if I just find someone who I travel with? But again, that's like hypothetical. So, I think maybe in like the next 20 years, I at least hope to like have a space where I can like engage in my hobbies.
Okay.
Something to come back to from whatever travels I have. Again, model trains. I don't know about fish. I love fish. It's just there's so much work, and
Mm.
I would hate to like be gone for so long. And I know that there's like things that you can do to like make it easier. Just like I know you can automate fish tanks so that you don't really have to like take care of them, or if you're away, you don't have to worry about them. It's just like I like bonding with the fish that I have, and like you can bond with fish as well as you can bond with dogs. It's like crazy. Um,
Yeah. But hey, that's super mature, very very mature understanding of your possible future life. We are. I guess I'm older than your dad. We are very different. You and I are different generations, and I'm curious to know if you struggle with your sexuality growing up.
I did, because Dad and Jesse are Christian, and my mom was not, and I think mom's like always supported me, but like I think, cause see, I don't know which one was worse, being scared to come out to Dad and Jesse because they handled it so badly with my older brother, or being out to my mom and her just like not believing me. Because yeah, like a little backstory, like when my brother came out to my parents, it was really bad. Like they said some really vile religious Christian stuff, like I was hoping to see you in heaven or whatever, and that was really awful. Um, so when I was figuring myself out, I was like, do I want them to know? And I never got into that business, or I never prompted them about where they were with Eli and that, because that was between Eli and them. So I never wanted to be like, how are you guys with gay people? Because I might have a surprise. Like that's. I was just afraid, and also I didn't really have an open communication with Dad and Jesse either, because like back then, I don't know, they just didn't handle some things well, and it had a really bad impact on me and whatnot, and like I had to grow up really fast and mature really fast because of it. And I mean, okay, well, it's gotten me here now. I mean, but I just wish it wasn't like that. Um, I wish it was like how it is now, but like for back then, I just think like what happened was I didn't talk to them for a very long time because I was just scared that they were gonna like Bible thump me or whatever. And when I did, it was like in a mental breakdown, and I had like flipped out or whatnot. They didn't flip out. Um, they actually were pretty chill. It's just even now there's still like that kind of underlying, like, I don't know what it is. But it's just even when I'm out to them, when I was having relationships and I was trying to talk to them about it, they're like, I couldn't talk with them about it. I mean, I could be open to them about it, and they were grateful that I was open to them about it, and like I let them in my life, but they literally could not talk to me about it because they're not gay people, so it's just like hard to connect to their kid about that. And I so wish that I could like have a normal conversation with them about it, and them not being like, well, I'm not gay, so I just don't know how these things work. So I can't really say anything with that, because then it just feels like everything's invalidated. Like I came to you with this thing, I have like all this emotional stuff I'm talking to you about, and you're saying, oh well, nice story, cool story, bro, but sorry, I can't really say anything on that, I guess. Or I guess whatever I say, I like don't listen to me because I don't really know anything about that realm, that tribe. Um, so, and then with my mom was an entirely different story because she actually like didn't believe I was. Um, she was like, it's actually funny. She's savage for this. She was like, I thought you were asexual because I never got into relationships. I didn't like dating. I thought dating was weird. I still think dating is weird just because I'm like young. But uh, like I didn't have any crushes when I was in middle school, or I didn't have any elementary school crushes. And I mean, the fact that she never knew of any such, she just thought I wasn't in anybody, and that I just was asexual, meaning like you're not attracted to anybody or at all. I thought that was really funny. And then after a while, she was like, um, something changed with you in middle school, and you like were influenced by your friends, and they turned you into this. Like, where did my little boy go? And I was like, okay, um, if that's how you're gonna take it. And she still is kind of like that. She's kind of like, you say that you are, but I think it's a phase. And I think it's a phase because I actually had a dream where you married a redhead woman and you had twins. And I'm like, okay. Like it's so weird.
Okay, hang on. So your parents know? Both of your parents know?
All of my parents know, yeah. Um,
And are you religious as they are?
Not as. I'm still just trying to figure that out for myself. I have a relationship with God for sure. It's more of one out of fear because, like, our religion is more kind of fear based. Even if they don't know it, it's kind of fear based. Their teachings come from, like, the entire Bible, but their main prophet that they study most of is Ellen G. White. Ellen G. White is considered a prophet because she is claimed to have had visions of like heaven and visions of like God, or talking with angels, or talking with past figures in the Bible. Um, and she's had visions of like the end times. And I was taught that a lot growing up, is the end times. Prepare for the end times. Prepare for the end times. Like, God is coming soon. Like, you don't know when he's going to come, but always prepare that he's coming soon. And if you're not, in check, you are not going to get into his kingdom. And, if you don't have yourself figured out, if you don't live your life like God is coming tomorrow, you will not get into heaven. And they kind of bash over the head with the whole, like, well, it's a good thing that, to look forward to the end of time. Because it means that you're going to heaven, and they view earth as like a place of suffering, a place full of sin, which they're not wrong. It's just like, it's spooky as a child. It's spooky to be told like, hey, nothing that you do matters on this earth because we're all going to go in the end anyway. Like, that's just your whole religion basically. But you're also taught to like appreciate the people, and like take the time to like spread the word. But then you're also being taught to spread the end times, and that it's near. And when you're surrounded by a community full of like, because these people aren't suicidal, but it comes pretty close whenever they say like, good thing we're all going soon, all the time. That's just how the church was. It's just, they would always open with like, brothers and sisters, like, aren't you glad that we're all going soon? And they'd always be like, amen. So in relation to that, I wasn't scared of not going to heaven because I was gay. I'm scared of going to heaven because I don't have a relationship with God. Actually, no, those do play in together, because I remember when I first figured it out, I was like, oh shit, like what if I'm actually like rejected from the church for this? And then, like what if I actually don't get in heaven because like I've like committed like these weird acts, like of homosexuality that are considered like a sin. And like are kind of unforgivable. And it's like, sin is forgivable, and you do ask God for forgiveness. Like, acts of sin are forgivable, but there's something to be said, within the church when you live it as a lifestyle. And their whole thing is like, the most unforgivable sin is like rejecting the gift of God, aka living a lifestyle that is not Christian, or that is not like religious. And see, the unfortunate thing is like, according to a lot of people, just my sexuality comes into conflict with that lifestyle. Although I know it doesn't have to, but it's really hard to live it when a lot of people are just in your ear being like, well, that's not the right way. And I'm like, okay, but that's not your relationship with God. It's mine. But as of now, like, with just everything culminating up to now, my relationship with God is based off of fear because I feel like if I don't have a relationship with Him, like I cease to exist. Like at the like when the end times come, I cease to exist. Like you just don't go to heaven. You don't. There's no such thing as like you get tortured in hell forever and burned in the pits or whatever. It is you are done. Like there's nothing further than that. You just die. That's it. Like you get extinguished like the rest of Earth, and then everyone else goes up to heaven and they live eternally. Um, so the confliction is that I live a lifestyle that seems like I'm rejecting the relationship with God, but I want a relationship with God. But I do that in fear of like, well, if I don't have a relationship with God, then I just like, you know, I cease to exist, and that's really scary. Um, so I haven't really like found like a community or like a place yet, really, where it's like, yes, you can be like Christian and like be gay, because it's not very heard of. And a lot of times, like if you do try like, admittedly, I did try googling like, can you be gay and Christian? And unfortunately, a lot of them were just like, oh, well, I lived this lifestyle before I turned to God, and God got me out of that lifestyle. So a lot of them are, yes, you can be for a little bit, but then you realize that, having God in your heart is way better than being gay, and then they stop being gay. But it's like, this wasn't a choice. I was just born like this. I have nothing, like, me has nothing to do with how I am, and, like, to, like, actively repress, that sucks. Um, so, yeah, I think Dad and Jesse have just done a pretty good job, like, not, like, really touching upon that when it comes to, like, religion, because they realized their mistake with Eli, but there still is the underlying expectation of, live a relationship with God, but also restrict yourself, like, a lot. So,
I thank you for sharing. I think this is a very, I can tell that it's what you're going through right now. It must not be easy.
it's not. I've done a lot better just dealing with it now that I'm like older and more independent. I think generational generationally to answer your other question, it's like a lot easier like within our generation to just like be whatever you want, because our generation's all about like not putting labels on things, and like what your identity is or how you choose to like have your identity and like sexuality or whatnot. They're very positive about that. I don't know how it was in your generation, but it was probably like I don't know, more on the down low, more repressed, more looked down upon. I know, like, what was it? Were you born in the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was during like the time of like the sex positive, sexuality positive like era of like, oh yes, we can do whatever we want. But then came like the AIDS crisis, and that's what spooked everybody. And then the AIDS crisis was like, oh yeah, okay, so that's bad, and it's causing a lot of problems. And I mean, maybe that shouldn't have been the takeaway, but I mean, at least it caused a lot of research, and developments that saved a lot of future generations. And now we have like resources, for those lifestyles, which is cool. Um, but yeah, even then, back then it was hard, and I'm sure it was a lot harder. I think now the problem isn't hiding it. The problem is like stereotypes and like being labeled or whatnot. Um, it's weird. Because when I connect with people, I don't you don't tell people that you're gay. Um, I'm kind of just myself, and I'm chilling. I like talking about my interests. I talk with them about their interests. Like we have conversations, And then I don't know, at some point it comes up and they're like, oh, well, I always knew, or oh, I could tell, or um, oh, well, now that I know that you are, that's like the only thing I can think about now. And then that's the only thing to talk to you about. And you're like, damn, I'm like this whole other person. Um, so, and those are the other people that I try not to be friends with. People who kind of only limit you to that specific aspect of your life because for some reason I don't know what it is, but um, they make it your whole personality, and I don't know why. I'm also not friends with people who make it their whole personality because they're insufferable and obnoxious. Um, but then when those people know what you are, then they kind of place these expectations on you to like behave a certain way or like behave this specific way, and then you're like, well, I don't, but cool to like, ouch. um, I mean, I knew a few people in high school who were just like, oh, well, you're gay, so aren't you better with women? And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Or they're like, oh, you're gay, like why don't you like why aren't you flamboyant? Why aren't you like into Taylor Swift or whatever? And I'm like, why do I have to be? um, there's just the whole like effeminate and um, I get called all these names a lot, which is cool. I think they're funny. They're silly names. Um,
Yeah.
but then you're like, okay, cool. So I think the problem is now is just like how to deal with people placing expectations on you now that you're out. When they claim themselves to be allies, but then they box you in.
Yeah. No, I had a brother. He passed away. He was gay, and very interesting story. He passed away of an overdose later in life.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, I can share it behind cameras if you want to hear it. But I remember he sitting us down, my sister, my older sister, and myself. He eventually he had to leave where he was born because of he was being bullied and he was starting to mixed up with the wrong crowd. Anyway, long story short, he sat us down and he told us he came out to us. He felt that we needed to know, and I thought that was very brave of him because still that was like over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So it wasn't easy. It's not. I think you have it a little better now.
Definitely.
But I still remember this conversation to this day, and he said that he knew he was gay when he was like 5, 6, 8, I don't know, super early, and he tried to tell my dad. My dad rejected him. So what you're doing right now is super brave. I think it's gonna help a lot of people, and I don't know. Would you like to share how your journey when you knew and everything? I mean, I'm also very interested to know how you came out to your parents.
So I was like your brother. I knew when I was like in elementary school. Um, I did have like one elementary school crush. It's just that my mom wasn't aware of that. That's why she didn't believe me. Um, but it wasn't like it was just like you had these thoughts and they were normal, or you perceive them to be normal, and you kind of think like everybody just has these thoughts as well. Until you find out that no, people don't have these thoughts, and it's actually like not, I guess like the norm. And it's very much like a secret society thing, or like it's very much like a courageous thing to do. Instead of it just being seen as normal, you're either seen as really brave, or just like you have, yeah, it's just brave to be gay. And in middle school, like I didn't explore it all in elementary school because you're just in elementary school. I was just doing elementary school stuff, and I was like doing Foursquare and like making projects and doing art or whatever. In middle school was when I was like really thinking about it. When you're trying to fit in or whatever. I mean, I wasn't trying to fit into like gay people. I just like, there were just, I had friends at school who were just like actually open about it, and I was like, I thought everyone had these thoughts, and they're like, no, and I was like, oh, and I never, I think my problem was I had like one or two crushes in middle school as well. Um, but they were straight and they also didn't treat me very well. Not because they knew, just because they didn't like me. um, for some reason I don't know, I liked them for some reason. Um, but in middle school I had like a circle, like a support where I talked about that with people, and or at least just like, yeah, discussed that with people, and it was really weird. Well, not like weird, but it was like really interesting because it was new and I didn't, like really know what to call my. At first, I called myself bisexual, because a lot of girls like to ask me out and stuff, and I was just like, okay, just for fun. And when you have like elementary school girlfriends and middle school girlfriends, it's not serious. So I was just like, okay. Um, and I only call myself bisexual because I was just like, oh, well, I dated girls, so that makes me bisexual, but not because I liked them, because they liked me. They asked me out, and I said, yeah. I had never actually asked anybody out. um, so, like, I call myself bisexual because I thought that was more normal or more acceptable than just calling yourself gay at the time. And then people still more focused on the gay part, so I was like, damn. And then when people knew, like, I got hated on for it, but that's okay because they're middle schoolers, and middle schoolers are vicious. Middle schoolers are just vicious in general. Um, and I think I had one really good friend. Uh, like we explored our sexualities together and whatnot. He just graduated too. He went to not SECTA, uh, Northwest. Yeah, he went to Northwest. But we were in middle school together, and then we stayed in contact after I moved from middle school. Um, and like we discussed it a lot. We talked about a lot of things, and it was actually pretty fun. Because he's also like intelligent and like emotionally mature and whatnot. So it wasn't like anything crazy or anything wild. It was just like, oh, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or like, how do you feel about this? And I think that was a really good space to have. Is just like to discuss things. Um, and then when I went to high school, I was pretty secure on who I was. I just didn't really tell anybody. Um, Actually, in middle school, I think toward the end of middle school, I got asked out like 3 times by the same guy, and I was just like, no, no. And that kind of, I think that put me into the whole like, okay, yeah, like you're actually like you're just gay. That's it. Like you should just say that. So I did when I was in high school, but not in my freshman year because nobody needed to know that my freshman year I was online. There was no reason for them to, and I only saw them for like 3 hours of my day because online school was really weird. It was like 3 hours every day. So I wasn't with them like in the morning. I wasn't with them my whole day, and it's not like you had like private social areas, to talk with people. Like you would just go from class to class, and it's not like you had video calls with people personally after class, or you. Um,
But wait, do you know anybody that your age that hasn't come out? I guess what's the term? There's a term.
that's still in the closet.
They're still in the closet.
No. Actually, well, no, he came out because I broke up with him. Um, yeah, no, he came out because I broke up with him last year, which is a really silly story, but yeah. So I did, but the people that I were friends with were already out as well, socially, but not like to their parents. I think the definition that I'm going for here is like if they were out to the school, but not to their parents, because that's like a completely different thing. Um, but yeah, no, the people that I knew were like out socially. Oh, then I guess he does count as like being out socially because he was out socially. He just didn't come out to his parents. But then he came out to his parents after I broke up with him. So
So what was your experience like? How long ago, and how did you plan for it? How was it?
I didn't. I was gonna stay in until I got to college, and I was in a really bad place with like my dad and stepmom for a while because middle school I was just going through a lot of things at home, and I didn't take it very well, and I was spiraling, and I like dad and Jesse didn't handle it well with me, and it virtually rendered like all communication with them like over, because it just made me feel like when that happened, when that whole thing happened with them, I didn't feel like I could communicate with them anymore, so I stopped. Um, and I didn't have my mom to talk to, and I was angry at my mom. So then like I was just taking all this stuff within myself, and then in high school, like that also kind of transferred because then my mom came back, and because she was gone, and that's why I was like so angry. She came back, and um, I mean, I came out to her first for sure. Um, and I mean, she was just like, "Oh, I don't believe you," but she said it in like this really funny, savage way. So I just thought she was joking, whatever. So I think with my mom, I kind of planned it because I just felt more safe with her, and I knew that mom was the one who supported Eli when he was coming out to Dad and Jesse, or when Dad and Jesse said all that stuff to him when he came out to them. She was the one who had his back. So I thought she'd have my back, and she didn't. Or I guess she did. Because, I don't know, she picked and chose what she wanted to support. And, you know, if... Because she would just, like, say that I wasn't, or said it was just a phase. But then when I would make any decisions, like, specifically when it came to, like, my future, she'd be like, well, you have to think about you're gay, so you have to think about that with your future as well. And I was like, I really don't. And I don't know why you're limiting me to that, but whatever. Um, but Dad and Jesse, I was at a really bad place. And,
How long ago was this bad place?
that was like, it's like last year. I think last year, or maybe the year before that. Sophomore year, I was very hateful of my dad. Just, I don't know. It's, long story short, I was just manipulated, like, very manipulated to hate my dad. When I really shouldn't have. And, like, I know there was stuff, you know, where he screwed up and stuff. It's just like, I was told I should hold on to that, or I was led to believe that I should hold on to that, and that's why I hated him for so long. I'm sure it would have been a lot shorter if I didn't. And so, you know, during this time, they were still trying to encourage me to talk to them, and I was like, well, no, I don't want to talk to you. So then there was a lot of things that I would repress or have problems with, but I wouldn't say it to them because, you know, I didn't want to. But then that would mean that, you know, I couldn't explain like why I was crying, or I couldn't explain like why I was feeling this way, because then that meant I had to open up to them. I didn't want to. And the one time I did, I opened up to them, like, I had this whole mental breakdown because I had kept everything for the past, like, 2-3 years, like, within me. And yeah, so I just told them that I was, like, sad and gay at the same time. And that there was just a lot of things that I needed to work through because of them. And that I had to repress, you know, like, my sexuality for so long because of them. I never planned to. I just broke down, and that's when I told them and stuff. So, and then after that, they were pretty chill. I got therapy because the court ordered that I go to therapy. Um,
Hold on. Why did the court has to get involved?
because joint custody. Um,
Oh.
Dad and mom, when I was still a minor, they fought in court over my custody or whatever, the custody schedule, because it was never equal. Um, and there was actually a point where I left Dad's for like 9 months and didn't come back. Like, did not go to his house. And I just stayed with mom. And that's where I learned to like hate him, where I learned to like hold on to all the stuff I had for him and like repress everything. And then when that happened, and it was more towards the end of that 9 months, because I think during that ninth month, I was like slowly trying to like get acclimated to them. Like, I would go out and do stuff with them, but I wouldn't go to their house. Whereas the past 8 months, I didn't do anything with them at all. I didn't contact them like at all. And then that last 9 month, I kind of did, and then I did things with them, and so yeah, and then mom brought dad to court because of something different or because of custody reasons, and then mom used that on him in court, where he was like, well, your son, you know, just broke down, just stayed at my house for like 9 months and broke down, had a mental breakdown because of you, and came out to you. after like 3 years or whatever, and the judge was like, "Hold up, so he's not seeing his dad, and he repressed like all of this stuff, and he, like didn't talk to you about it, didn't talk to his father about it. Like this kid needs therapy. If he's gonna go back and resume the normal custody schedule, there's clearly something wrong, and he needs to go to therapy." So, I did, um, and I learned a lot in therapy, and that's actually pretty cool because that's where I like acquired like the tools to like communicate, like where to use my words and like how to like enunciate things and just like be more open, and also how to like handle my own stuff. And it turns out like I didn't really have to like do any of that. It was more of like the problem was that my mom was the one who was manipulating me, and my mom was the one who was telling me all this stuff, reinforcing the narrative that, oh, I'm like this little gay kid who is being oppressed by his parents. I wasn't. And she would only like really recognize my sexuality when it benefited her, which sucked. So in high school, I kind of, in sophomore year, I was open socially. Junior year, I was open to my parents. And then this year, like I was actually I'm at a really good place with my parents now, and like we're really chill. But now I'm just like, I'm here and I'm like queer, and that's cool. It's really, there's nothing left to like figure out. It's not a journey of like sexuality anymore. It's just like a whole like, okay, well, who's the right person for you now? Thinking about like, who are you going to marry? What's the type of person that you want, in your life that you want to stick with? Who's the person who can, be with your family? Who's going to hang out with your family? Who you can call family? Who the rest of the family is going to call family? And see, I haven't really told the rest of the family yet. I guess maybe more of like my grandma and grandpa, which is okay. Not trying to outlast them before I do so, but like yeah,
Yeah, it's just, yeah. It's
I,
weird to me that you have an obligation to tell people about your sexuality. Why?
right. So I actually don't feel like that at all, but it's like when people feel like I'm obligated to do so, and I'm just like no, because then what they'll do is they'll tell other people, and I'm like, well, I don't know I don't know if that's like the correct thing to do. I don't. It doesn't feel right. Um, in this day, I don't know what it is, but it's just maybe it's the way that people bring it up now. But it's like the first thing that people bring up about me when they introduce me to other people. Like they'll always be like, "Oh, hi, this is Lucas. He's gay," and I'm like, "Damn, for why?" So,
That's interesting.
it's really interesting because I'm just like, is that really all you took away from like this whole interaction I just had with you? Like, okay, that sucks. You're not being my friend. Um, and
They
some
should be
people,
like, this is Lucas. He's the smartest kid in the world, and he has the biggest, most beautiful dreams someone could ever have.
yeah, something like that. Like these are his aspirations. This is what he likes doing. Like this is actually Lucas. This is his personality. Um, so when people do that, I'm just like, ew. Um, but yeah, no.
Why? Let's let's dive a little into these people without putting any blame on them. Why do they do this?
I was gonna answer that too. I feel like that's actually just because they're unaware. Um, because there's been one person where I've successfully talked to them, and they're like, "Oh crap, I didn't even realize like I was doing that. I'm really sorry." And I was like, "Yeah." And it's funny because she's also gay, and it's like, okay. um, I just think they get too comfortable like knowing something personal about someone, and just like being the first person, like, or at least in them like feeling like they're privileged for like knowing this about me, and then like being able to tell other people that like knowing this fact about Lucas, which is funny because like that's the first fact that you want to tell people about Lucas. Like that's the most interesting one to you. Okay. Um, but again, it's just like maybe it's because of the exciting idea of like being an ally, or just like engaging with like a person who just is different. But I just think it's funny because you don't say something like, "Oh, this is Yeshawn, he's black." like, um, You know,
You know,
and I feel like those, because again, it's like that's, that's an integral identity of yourself. I mean, like, of course people can see it. I guess that's what makes it different from like sexuality. But just like, shouldn't it just like be as organic as like seeing someone's skin color, you know? Like, why isn't it like as just as normal as like the color of your eyes? Um, cause or yeah, you could be like, oh, this is, Lucas, he has blue eyes. Um, but it's really just because they're excited and they kind of just get a bit too overzealous, um, and it just kind of makes them unaware that that's again a personal factor, and just because somebody's open about it doesn't mean that you go telling other people like you trusted them with that, and just because that person that you talk to you trust doesn't mean that the person that is gay also trusts them as well. So yeah, no, I think people just get caught up in the idea of being an ally and then trying to like show that they're an ally by like introducing that about me, and then I have to tell them like slow down, like that's not your thing to say, and they'd be like, oh, oops, I didn't see it that way. So they just don't see it in the way that I do usually.
well, the Lucas that I've gotten to know in the times that I've met you and now, um, no one is holding him down. He's he's the bravest person, the strongest person, and yeah, I think for that reason I admire you. I think you're a great guy. So yeah, no, keep on keeping on, man.
Thank you.
Um, sorry, I keep looking at this because I'm afraid that we know dealing with technology sometimes might fail on us. But is there anything you want to add to this last section of the conversation?
I mean, I think we covered everything, or just in this section. I'm pretty chill.
Okay, so where can people find you? Would you like to share that? Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that?
No, I'm
No.
just like, it's whatever. I honestly like. Actually, maybe yeah. I post a lot of art on my account. I don't really post anything personal. I have a really cool Instagram where I just post my stuff. It's very random at times and it's not consistent at all. I'm planning to be consistent as I get more into like commissioning and stuff. But if you wanted to reach me because you want to see my really cool art and you want to like pay me to do something for you on my Fiverr page, I do have the handle at Nuded's Friends, friends being spelled FRENDS, no I. But yeah, that's just, I mean, please do. I need money. Because like,
he's a great artist.
paying college tuition is insane.
All right. Well, on this note, let's close it up. Give if you could please look at the lens and give us the best advice that you can give someone.
Okay. So I've always been told that you're going to have a mindset that changes every 7 years. And as someone who's only 18, that's happened for me twice, and I can say it's true for the times it's happened twice. But what I've gotten out of that is that, you grow up, and there's a lot of things that you want to do. There's a lot of things that make you happy, that you want to be doing, that also make you happy. And as you get into your future, it's going to change, and that's okay. The idea is that, as you change, you do what makes you happy, and you do what, is great for you. And if that's something different, if you find a purpose that wasn't originally what you intended, that's okay. Like, just, you're always going to have yourself through everything. And I think as long as you recognize, yourself, and you make sure that you're always, you always have yourself, then you're gonna be fine wherever you go. Because you're always gonna be working toward what makes you happy and what's gonna bring you contentment with yourself.
Thank you, Lucas.